A quick announcement for today's video. Super Mario RPG turns 20 years old this year, and to commemorate the awesome occasion, Jesse Cox, Dodger, Strippin, Octopimp, Alex from the Dex and Beard Bros, myself, and so many more people are coming together to do our annual JRPG stream. It's happening on Saturday, the 24th at 12 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. Head over to twitch.tv/thatonevideogamer or twitch.tv/Shabuzi. See you guys there.
Yes!
Hey everyone, and welcome back to another brand new episode of The Completionist. Today's episode is on one of my favorite Final Fantasy games, Final Fantasy Tactics.
Holy crap, we're talking about tactics. I'm in.
Oh my god, ProJared, where did you come from?
From right over there. It's like 3 steps to the side, just out of your peripheral vision.
Damn.
Tactics, I love it. Let's talk.
Let's go.
Squaresoft in Final Fantasy has kind of been king of JRPGs. Nowadays, I would beg to differ, but back in the day, they would take a lot of big risks, and a lot of the time, those risks would pay off. Things like Chrono Trigger and Super Mario RPG Legend of the Seven Stars were games that, on paper, are weird and scary, yet they instantly became fan favorites. Obviously, the weird and scary do that.
Ogre Battle, March of the Black Queen, and Tactics Ogre, Let Us Cling Together were two incredible JRPGs on the Super Nintendo that took everyone by storm. The company Quest let Yasumi Matsuno helm both these games, but by 1995, Matsuno had moved on to work at Squaresoft, and so his first project was another tactical-style RPG known as Final Fantasy Tactics.
Released in 1997, Final Fantasy Tactics would go on to sell over 1 million copies in its infancy. It went on to establish the Ivalice world that would later be revisited in such games as Vagrant Story, Final Fantasy Tactics Advance, Advance 2, and Final Fantasy 12. And back in 2007, PSP users were greeted with a brand new port known as Final Fantasy Tactics War of the Lions. It would feature a better translation of dialogue, updated cutscenes, and they added the Onion Knight and Dark Knight as a job class.
Today, we chose to play the original PlayStation game because the port does suffer from loading times and extreme slowdown during battles. The game is available on iOS and PS3 via emulation for those of you who wanted to give it a shot. But I think that at the core of it, Jared and I both agreed we wanted to play the version that we both grew up with.
That's right. Let us start with the legacy of Ramza Beowulf and the world of Ivalice.
Long ago, there were 3 neighboring kingdoms known as Ivalice, Ordalia, and Romanda. All 3 kingdoms had royal blood ties across each other, but at the end of the day, they were constantly in conflict. The biggest conflict between all 3 became to be known as the 50-Year War. Throughout the 50-Year War, we saw a rise of independent royal families with tremendous power, and when the war came to an end, these families were almost completely in charge of these countries. But you know how these stories go, it all starts with the death of a king.
Ordalia's king, King Amdoria, dies, which soon turns the entire world into a race to the throne. The king has 2 heirs to the throne, his daughter Ovilia, who isn't as royal as we think she is, and his youngest son. Ovilia has the support of Goltana and the Black Lion, while Queen Rovilia and her brother Prince Larg of the White Lion support her younger brother. And across all 3 kingdoms, wealthy families are taking sides. This is where our heroes are introduced.
Enter Ramza Beowulf, the youngest male of the Beowulf family. The game starts out with his father dying. He's got his brothers Dystarg, Zalbag, and his younger sister Alma to help run the royal family name. On his deathbed, Ramza's father requests...
Ramza, you son of a bitch.
Ramza, On his deathbed, Ramza's father requests that Ramza lead his friend Delita with guidance and justice.
Delita Hyrule is Ramza's best friend growing up. Delita is considered a commoner but was raised as royalty alongside Ramza. They're practically brothers. Training in the academy, they hope to be knights. What they end up getting involved in goes beyond their own scope.
The game is split into 4 chapters, each which see Ramza and Delita changing exponentially. What's weird is that the game starts off at Arborn Monastery with a tutorial fight. This fight is actually where the game begins, but all of Chapter 1 is a flashback up until Chapter 2. Without spoiling too much, Delita loses someone close to him by the end of Chapter 1. realizing that he is just a commoner but wants to become more. Whereas by the end of Chapter 1, Ramza sees that his family is heavily involved in the plot of this new Lion War that's begun. And through the evolution of the game, you discover that the war isn't what it's meant to be.
That's about as far as we should go before we ruin the rest of the video. You can tell there's a lot on the line here. The stakes are so goddamn high that our heroes are the only ones who seem to have any idea as to what's truly right. And that's awesome.
Personally, I always believe in doing the right thing, and that's Ramza's entire aspect, thus making our main character one of the most relatable Final Fantasy protagonists, let alone video game protagonist out there. And look at that! There's no princess that needs saving. Well, there kind of is, but our main character doesn't need to save her because she's a love interest, and that's saying a lot.
This is one of the things I really liked about Tactics. Around this time, so many RPGs were coming out that were all based around love stories. And the fact that Tactics isn't about that at all was really refreshing.
And within the realm of Tactics, we have Ramza, who is not only trying to stop everything in the name of justice, he's trying to make sure that no one kills each other. More importantly, he's trying to find himself and where he fits in with not only his friends, but his family.
And Delita's really doing the same thing. He's also trying to find his place in the world, only he knows exactly what he wants that to be and goes about it in really selfish ways. Really pay attention and go thorough when it comes to the Final Fantasy Tactics story, and you'll be amazed at how much lore and backlog there really can be. It's still confusing as all hell. It's super definitely confusing. It'll take you. I mean, you'll probably need to read up some wikis. Or something.
You can probably go to. If this was like 1999, you could go to Borders and get one of those like Cliffy Note things on the game.
Cliff Notes.
Cliff Notes. Yeah, Cliffy Notes.
Matsuno and his team's biggest strength going into Final Fantasy Tactics was the familiarity of their legacy, which got them the gig. The Ogre series arguably may be the biggest influence as to why 3D tactical RPGs exist. I'd even go on to say that a lot of the same assets from the original Super Nintendo and Famicom games were built upon in Final Fantasy Tactics. And it totally works, as Squaresoft made this game for the nostalgic and the newcomer.
While this type of RPG wasn't new, it was a dramatic change for the Final Fantasy fans out there. Yes, 3D tactical RPGs are turn-based, but the grid-based combat was something people weren't used to. Most Final Fantasies and other RPGs produced by Squaresoft were 2D ATB-based engines at this point, so Tactics really shook things up for them. If you've played Fire Emblem, you're probably scoffing at most of the footage we're showing you, but this was a really big deal back in the day. And for me, I just got finished with Final Fantasy VII at the time, so this was a great change for my 9-year-old self.
The sprite work and the animations for the game may seem minimal to most, especially for a console that was rocking it hard in the 32-bit era. It didn't really bother me. In fact, I really liked it. I thought the aesthetic matched very nicely overall. There are many moments where certain characters would physically do something on screen and the sprite work would actually reflect their actions.
Did that dude just grab your dick?
Yeah, he did.
Do you have to grab his dick back then?
Mm-hmm. That's how they do it in Ivalice. If I had to complain about anything, the summons that a summoner can cast are a little phoned in. But the cutscenes where Ramza and Delita are interacting, or when Ramza's with his family, show how powerful a unified presented game can work very well without the need of 3D insane graphics.
The most refreshing thing about Final Fantasy Tactics has got to be the soundtrack. Just because this game has Final Fantasy in the title, you would never know based on its music that it was a Final Fantasy game. It's original and it stands on its own 2 feet, belting beautifully. The music is so distinct, there isn't another game out there that sounds like it.
Let me put it to you this way. The music is so good and so iconic, I can start humming pretty much any song from it and Gerard will be able to immediately pick up on it. Mm-hmm. Right?
Right.
So the story is a little confusing, but good. The overall look and feel of the game is spot on, but gameplay is always hit and miss for many people.
I remember hating it first, but it grew on me quite quickly. Some games don't hold up very well over the years. I'm a real big believer in a game like GoldenEye not aging very well, but everyone still praises it. Let's see if Tactics still holds water.
Is it pregnant?
No, why?
Why would it be holding water?
It's a phrase.
I don't think it is.
I'm pretty sure it's a phrase.
Pretty sure it's not, though.
All right, I'll check my sources, but I'm pretty sure it's a phrase.
It might be a phrase.
Yeah, I think we're there. Yeah, I think I'm right on this one. Yeah, I think it's a phrase.
Did it cast Waturga?
What makes this game Final Fantasy-esque is probably the biggest mystery about itself. For starters, we explained that the game was made for nostalgic gamers and newcomers alike. So let's start there. You control Ramza across Ivalice, battle after battle, chapter after chapter, each with a specific want, goal, and conflict. So, without further ado, let's talk about combat. The combat is, what the hell is going on here?
What?
These dudes are just marching in place.
Yeah. On the 3D battlefield, you control 5 characters at a time that march in place.
Well, why are they marching?
Marching illustrates that currently, everything is okay. However, if the marching is altered, then something's going on. Maybe they've been stopped, so they don't move. Maybe they've been turned into a statue, so they're petrified. Granted, the game tells you when skills and spells have gone off, so you'll more than likely know based off of visual appearance, but I digress. This is pretty cool.
Combat involves you individually controlling 5 of your characters on the field of battle. Each person has their own sets of stats. Level, speed, strength, etc. There's even a zodiac stat based on their signs and birthdays. The zodiac stat gives bonuses and debuffs depending on the other enemy's zodiac. That part I never really paid much attention to, but I really loved that attention to detail. Within each round of turns, you can control Ramza or one of your characters to do one of 2 things. 1, move the character, and 2, act. When it comes to moving, the amount of space is determined by the character's current job class and skills. In each battle, you must eliminate all the enemies on the grid. At the end of a full round of 4 turns, any downed enemies or ally will turn into either chests, which gives you an item or money, or a crystal, which will give you full health or a skill you haven't learned yet from one of the jobs available. This means that the characters get permanently killed. If Ramza is down for more than 4 turns, then it's game over. Sounds simple enough, yeah?
Well, it's simple, yes. Kill everyone. But it's never that easy. Party configurement is so incredibly important. You will easily determine the tide of battle just by picking the best job classes for the sake of the team.
For example, I always tried to have a monk on the team, a job that can do incredible damage and heal nearby party members. Easily one of my favorite jobs in the game.
The class system is heavily influenced by Final Fantasy 3 and 5, allowing players to pick all kinds of different jobs. If you're a traditional kind of player, you can go with a black mage, a white mage, or a summoner, but there's so many jobs, so many roles that do so many things, all of which are very useful, but most of the obscure jobs are very situational.
Very, very situational. Mediators, dancers, ninjas, samurais, oracles, there's so many jobs. There's even a job called a calculator, which can punish enemies based on their stats. Truthfully, I love having all of these options, but for efficiency of the game, you'll want to stick with your basics. Try to get your entire team to master at the very least: Squire, Knight, Chemist, Lancer, Monk, Mage, Priest, Summoner, Archer, and Time Mage. Now, why force your entire team to master all these jobs?
You can assign secondary skills to any job out there. In fact, you can assign not just secondary skills, but other perpetual skills such as dual wielding, Dragon Spirit, which casts auto revive if your character takes the hit, or Hamido, which allows you to attack before even getting hit and interrupt theirs. There's also passive skills like increased job points upon actions. The customization for this game is through the roof.
And we're not stopping yet. Let's talk about guest characters. Throughout your journey, you'll encounter characters that are a part of the plot, so you can't control them. Yet. At the end of their plot line, you'll end up getting a prompt to ask them to join your party. You can choose to accept them or deny them, as you can have up to 24 different characters in your party. That includes Ramza, your other 4 starting characters, all of the guest characters you'll meet, and even the monsters and animals you can convince to join up. With regards to completing the game, I consider completing the game getting your core 5 members to level 99 with all jobs maxed and all skills learned, all secret characters joined in your party, and defeating the secret deep dungeon. So before we continue, we're going to warn you guys for spoilers coming up as for some of the guest characters you can get in the game.
For the most part, guest characters are overpowered. From the very get-go, the type of characters that join up are the kind of characters you'll end up using the whole game. Guest characters cannot become squires, as they become their job that they are in the plot of the game. For example, Agrius is a holy knight. Because you can't make normal characters become character-based jobs, you'll end up replacing your other characters with the guest characters.
When Orlando joins your party becomes broken as hell. This character class is essentially the combination of all the magical knights in the world of Ivalice, so he's unstoppable. Plus he comes equipped with Excalibur, one of the best swords in the game. But that's kind of where the weirdness of the game starts to show a little bit. Character variation is very, very pointless. You might as well only use the 5 characters you were given at the beginning of the game, Ramza and the other 4 randoms, and then replace them with character guests as the game goes on. Our end party before we stopped playing the game was Ramza, 1 regular party member, Agrius, Orlando, and Cloud. That's right, Cloud from Final Fantasy VII is a secret character in the game, but we'll get to that in due time.
There are some secret missions and side quests you can go on. In fact, you can task some of your extra characters to go on these missions for you. They can get you gil, special items, and more. You can also poach monsters and sell their pelts to make money and build items. But overall, that's where the side questing kind of ends. The game is rather linear, but the secrets the game give you are pretty badass.
I wish this game had some multiplayer co-op team control. I've played quite a few 3D grid RPGs in my day, and the ones that include multiplayer have always been my favorite. Hell, any co-op Final Fantasy game always puts me in a good mood.
Well, at least we got each other, right, buddy? We can take down anyone that gets in our way.
Ted, buddy, how's it going?
Great.
Great, I don't care. Hey man, we need job points.
Okay.
We're gonna throw rocks at you.
What? Oh. No. I can't. That hurt. Okay. I can't draw it.
You can't what, Ted? Give us job points? Wrong!
While there's a lot to explain for our final level section, we're going to try and explain the basic points. There's too many characters and too many events that take place, so if we can get just the gist of it, I'm happy.
It turns out the war between both the Black and White Lions was methodically planned out by the Church as they want to assimilate control of all the kingdoms. Ramza and your team is on the side of justice, trying to stop everyone from killing each other. On the other side, Delita is manipulating all sides and parties involved, using his personal agenda to get what he wants, eventually marrying Princess Avilia, making him the king.
But as we go further on our quest, Ramza and the team discover the real truth. There's a legend called the Zodiac Brave story about the 12 stones that possess all kind of strong magical powers. It was just a rumor. However, it's actually true. These 12 stones are obtained by 12 of the most evil men involved within the church, and these stones end up possessing them in some form of demonic being. Led by a royal knight named Vormov, their goal is to bring back Ultima, the ultimate destroyer of worlds. And what's worse is Ramza's brother Dystarg is involved with the plot.
As the plot thickens, one of the evil stone-wielding knights ends up kidnapping Alma, Ramza's sister, and drags her along the entire journey. They want to use Alma's body as the body for Ultima, so you and your party spend the later half of the game hunting down Alma. Our crew ends up hunting down and collecting almost all 12 of the demonic stones. Along the way, imagine that everyone's brothers and sisters from all sides ends up getting killed. Yeah, this game is Game of Thrones before Game of Thrones even gamed or throned.
Our final battle involves our crew waging war on Vormov and the remaining demonic knights at the starting point of the game, Orban Monastery. Win after win, we end up getting summoned to essentially the underworld and resting place of Ultima. Now the final battle has become between all 5 of us and Vormov. Okay, so this fight is super hard, so I'm really worried that we're just gonna—
Done.
Okay, alright, yeah, sure, we're over leveled. I get it. We fused our skill together to complete this game. We have to conquer everything. But now the next phase of Ultima is way tougher. You know, I'm not sure we have the right configurations for
Killed it.
God damn it. Alright, well, we've got one more final form. We've got
it's done. We won.
Okay, yes,
Yep, we did it.
We broke the game by completing it early, you guys. I'm sorry.
As the final boss explodes, we are led to believe that Ramza, Alma, and the rest of our crew have died. We cut to a funeral in which they are honoring Ramza, Alma, and their family. Orlando's son comes to pay his respects, only to see Ramza and Alma riding chocobos into the distance, essentially having these two fake their deaths and remain the mysterious party that saved Ivalice from evil beings and corruption from the church.
It would appear we wrapped up our loose ends here, except we forgot about our other protagonist, Delita. See, Delita has been convincing everyone to kill each other and has been puppet mastering this entire game, including his now wife Queen Ovelia, who has technically been held captive by Delita almost the entire game. In the middle of the narrative, it's revealed to Ovelia that Delita wants to protect her and make her the true queen. But judging on what's about to happen, I'm not so sure that's how she feels.
Delita, on Ovelia's birthday, brings her flowers as he greets her. Upon greeting her, Ovelia stabs Delita in the chest. Delita does the same to her, and the two poetically die as the game takes us back to the main menu. I'd say that Delita is the Icarus of this game. He flew way too close to the sun. Or the knife. Flew too close to the knife. The knife is in his chest.
He went really close to that knife. Yeah.
He lay down on his own knife.
Mm-hmm. As stated before, Final Fantasy Tactics doesn't really have a completion bonus per se, but it does have its fair share of secrets. In Chapter 2, if you let Mustadia join your party, you can trigger a lot of key events later on in the game. The more Zodiac Stones you collect, the more secret events you can unlock. When you get to Chapter 4, you're going to revisit his hometown, Gaug Machine City, a lot.
First secret character you'll unlock is Beowulf. In between visiting all of the cutscenes with Mustadio, you'll need to venture to Goland, read the rumors at the bar, and head to Lasalia. You'll meet Beowulf and agree to go after this evil dragon known as Rice. After several battles, you'll rescue the evil monster and both Beowulf and the dragon join the party.
Return back to Gaug Machine City and one of the Zodiac Stones will react to a little sphere thing. This sphere ends up turning into a full-fledged robot known as Worker 8. Yeah, you've got the Iron Giant in your party and he's pretty badass.
After that, head over to Zaltenia and read the rumors. Make your way to Zargadis and buy the flower from the flower girl that totally isn't Aerith. Head back to Gaug Machine City and you'll unlock a battle in Zaltenia.
And then you'll have one final battle in Noveska Temple.
Once the battle is over, Rice the dragon gets turned into a human. So the dragon was a human the entire time.
After Rice becomes human, you're going to want to head back to Gaug Machine City for a cutscene in which Cloud gets summoned to Ivalice. He wanders off into the overworld and he's gone missing. The obvious place to go is Zargadis, where you bought the flower from Totally Not Aerith Girl. However, you can't make this scene happen until you've cleared a story battle at Igros Castle. Once that's done, head to Zargadis, save the day, and Cloud will then join your plight.
Cloud looks really damn cool, but there's two really shitty things out the gate. First, he's level 1. All guest characters in the game end up being the level your party is at when you get them, except Cloud, so this is super annoying. 2, his job class is Soldier via Final Fantasy VII, but he doesn't have the Buster Sword, or in this game they call it the Materia Blade. You'll need to equip the skill Move Find Item and get to the top of the volcano located in Brevenia Volcano. There is no indication as to where to get this weapon from, which is stupid. What's even stupider is that you need the blade or else you can't use Cloud's skills for the soldier job.
The last secret and character in the game is unlocked by completing the Deep Dungeon. You can unlock the Deep Dungeon after completing the battles in Milan. When you go back to Wargelis, a cutscene will take place and a new dungeon will appear. What lies ahead of you is 10 floors that are filled with the hardest monsters in the game. Each floor of the dungeon has one square that acts as an unlock panel to open the next floor. So don't kill everyone until you found that hidden panel. It's also dark as hell, so killing some enemies sooner rather than later will actually help light up the room.
When you've reached the final floor, you'll have a secret battle with the demon Elidibus, who has the 13th hidden Zodiac Stone. This entire fight sequence is really brutal, but what makes it one of the worst fights in the game is the Zodiac Summon. See, you can't actually master the Summoner job class in the game until you've acquired the secret summon Zodiac, in which Elidibus needs to cast it on you. That in itself is a problem because his sidekicks are annoying as hell and will turn you and your crew into frogs and stone. But with a little patience, you can have your entire team learn the spell and take him down. And when you finally defeat him, you'll get one more secret character to join your crew. Biblos. He's a demon. Yay!
This sounds like a lot, but really it isn't that much. All of this can be done with a lot of ease by the time you hit level 99. It just takes a very, very, very long time to get there. You're gonna be throwing a lot of stones at you and your friends.
Final Fantasy Tactics isn't necessarily a hard game so much as it has a few moments of difficulty spikes, depending on how you've raised your party. There are a lot of specific fights that can be a pain in your ass if you're not prepared. The execution site with Gafgarian can be a little bit frustrating because of the time mages being introduced. The Marquise's ninja fight in which Ramza must learn Ultima is one that we kept dying on a lot, which sucks because Ramza must survive the spell being cast on him. If he dies, he doesn't learn it. There's a 1v1 fight with Regrat that's insanely difficult because you're by yourself. And what's worse about that is that if you save your game right beforehand, you are locked into this fight and you can't go back. As long as you make backup saves along the way, you should be alright.
Though the game is real linear, and because we both have beaten the crap out of this game a lot, we never really had any big problems in this playthrough. In all honesty, one of the best ways to power level your characters is to force them to hit each other. Any action counts for experience and job points. So, if you want to get to the top level, you're going to be throwing a lot of rocks at each other. For our playthrough of Final Fantasy Tactics, there were
138 hours of total playtime,
4 chapters completed,
18 game over screens,
55 resetted games to farm items,
1 dick firmly shaked,
6 secret characters unlocked,
5 characters fully maxed out to level 99,
which means 100 jobs completely mastered with all skills learned.
and so many goddamn stones thrown. We
throw
threw so many stones, just stones
so
left
many,
and
you
right.
guys.
There
It
just
was
were stones.
Sticks and stones may break our bones, but these stones
get you job points.
Yep, job points and leveling for that matter.
That's what you need, stones. Final Fantasy Tactics is one of my absolute favorite Final Fantasy games. It's for sure my favorite PlayStation Final Fantasy, and I make sure to play through it once a year. It's a game that's so underrated that apparently very few people on YouTube even talk about it.
Yeah, I was very shocked that one of the few videos that discussed this game in depth was from the gaming historian. And that's it. Shoutouts to Norm. You're the best, Norm.
I love you, Norm. Play me Magic.
It's a shame because this has got to be one of the best Final Fantasy games out there that isn't traditionally Final Fantasy. Final Fantasy Tactics has got to be my favorite tactical RPG as well as yours, right?
Oh god, yeah, for sure.
There's something
love it.
so goddamn special about this game. The gameplay is awesome. The characters in it are wonderful. You have this great story that not very many people talk about. I think we're one of the first ones here, and I'm glad that we are, to have an awesome conversation about Final Fantasy Tactics.
To give you an idea of how badly I wanted to play this game as a kid, I actually didn't have a PlayStation 1 yet, but my older brother's friend had brought his over and played it. I saw it, I asked to borrow his copy, and then I emulated the game on my PC using an emulation program called Bleem.
That's crazy.
It worked like crap. It couldn't get past the first chapter. I saw Argus grab my dick so many times.
For you completionists out there, it's kind of not necessary to go the whole 9 yards for this one. Getting level 100, it's fun, except there's not really a point to it. It's overkill, not necessary, and while you have access to this large, grandiose cast, you're gonna basically stay with your 5 the entire game.
You can feasibly beat the game in about 20 to 25 hours or so, and doing all that grinding to max everything out is going to bump you up to about 80 to 100, and it's wholly unnecessary.
And with the whole hidden characters and secrets thing, there's only really one character worth getting, and even at that, that character is incredibly limited to the equipment in the game and their own skill set. So, with that in mind, guys, we give this game our completionist rating of Finish It!
Finish it!
That's all the time we have for today, guys, so please, as always, let us know what you thought about today's episode somewhere on the internet. Question of the day, what's your favorite RPG and why, in the comments below. Jared, thank you for coming here, man.
Of course, dude.
It's always, I'm so glad you're here in California
Me too,
now.
man.
We can hang out and do all that fun stuff.
Play Tactics together.
Oh my god,
So,
we're totally gonna
this
do
is already
that.
the best decision I've ever made.
Yes, I'm in. If you want to check out ProJared, you can actually see one of his recent videos on Final Fantasy Spirits Within right here on screen. Give it a click.
Movie sucks.
Yeah, and if you want to see his Let's Play channel, he's at youtube.com/ProJaredPlays. He's playing that Link to the Past randomizer right now.
Dude,
It's
it's
my
a fun time.
favorite. It's
So
so
good.
good. It's so good.
Check it out.
Yeah, man. Check it. Check it. Now, if you excuse us, we're going to throw rocks at everyone in the office.
Yeah, we need some job points.
Yeah, we definitely need to level up. Level up. Oh.
Huh.
Oh, he's dead.
Yeah.
Hey, Chris?
Yeah, Gerard, what's up?
We need more job points, buddy.